In this fashion classics return to the opulence of spring 1997 couture. It was a history-making year that changed couture forever when creative Brits invaded Paris. John Galliano delivered dreamy drama at Christian Dior. And Alexander McQueen's exquisite tailoring brought an edge to Givenchy. Feminine florals defined Roman couturier Valentino's collection. Meet the sophisticated clientele of the front row and the creative forces backstage, and more. This wasn't your grandmother's couture.
Couture has changed massively over the years.
Numéro 2, number 2.
No music, just a little number, 31, whatever. Now couture shows have got, 1,500 people in the audience. There can be rock and roll, there can be anything. So it's changed massively.
It certainly isn't dead, and it's being really brought back to life, which I think is exciting everyone, even those who can't afford it, which are most of us.
And suddenly, young blood has been injected, in the couture world, and Paris become everybody's so excited this week, with 4 new talents injected in couture. Everybody is so excited, and you're getting, new expression and new strength and new vitality. So it's wonderful.
I think it's a very great week. I think everybody's working in a fantastic way in Paris to show that Paris is still top for creativity.
Paris is the center of the couture industry. There is no couture in Tokyo or New York, and the Italians who participate come to Paris to show. Therefore, Paris is the only capital of couture.
It has absolutely nothing to do with fashion. It's about culture, and it's about an idea that the artist can pursue to its most extreme point.
It's why couture has to survive, because it's the only place, where you can really let your imagination go, and if you're talented, then you succeed like that show, which is so breathtaking.
And that show was Christian Dior. History was made on January 20th.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The best I have ever seen from 1978.
The expectations were high, the pressure intense, but John Galliano delivered a 4-star collection for his debut at Christian Dior.
It's the best I have seen ever. My favorite.
I was totally stoned. I'd still be like, I can't even speak. I was stunned that somebody can do something like this. I must tell you something. I'm like known for not to be interested in fashion very much. That's my image. With this collection, John really teach me what fashion is. It's the best collection I've ever seen.
The Grand Hotel was transformed by 4,000 roses and 2 miles of gray carpet, recreating a Dior salon.
It's great for John. I've known John 16 years, and it's wonderful that he had a great success at Dior. I'm thrilled.
It took them, 30 minutes to tie the girls into their corsets like Mae West. And, those corsets are a part of the past, but it's a part of a vision of a kind of romance that's very important. It's very important for fashion.
A Maasai theme also beat through the show.
John was fantastic. The show was beautiful. It was true to John, but at the same time in the spirit of Dior.
And I think this show was really good because it wasn't only about fantasy. There were some neat little suits and everything. But when the fantasy was there, it was like that real Galliano fantasy.
It's very interesting that they're bringing in such young talent to do something called couture, which should be someone, who's basically been working for a long time and has the eye for couture. And I think that John Galliano certainly succeeded at Dior.
Another Englishman was the first to put his name on a label inside a couture garment.
Actually, if you look back into the history of haute couture, it was actually started by an Englishman, Charles Worth, in about the 1850s, 1860s. So it is probably very appropriate that as we, kind of move into the 21st century, the English are taking, a strong hold again.
The torch always has to be passed down to a new generation, and this season is certainly that moment.
And basically, it's another British invasion.
England's 27-year-old Alexander McQueen was part of that invasion. This new man at Givenchy had some very big shoes to fill.
As most first haute couture collections, it was not, 100%, and it was a little over the top, and it was very theatrical, but it was beautifully done, and it had a lot of passion.
Well, the sky's the limit.
I loved it. I thought it was incredibly theatrical and very clever and very, very focused. And I think apart from all the fancy dress, which was fun to look at, when you took all the accessories and everything else away, underneath you had the most exquisite tailoring and the most perfect draping.
Alexandra, what has the best thing been about doing the couture collection?
Working with the people at the atelier and having the design executed in no way possible to man, and it comes to life.
Alexander McQueen is all about a kind of hardcore sex. It's a kind of a club aesthetic of London that is in your face, blatant, provocative, scary, wounding, torturous, but that is his aesthetic.
First of all, it was the logo of Givenchy, the white and gold, and then I thought it was very Greek, so I come up with a Greek mythological feeling to it. I thought what was the most fascinating Greek story to my knowledge, it was Jason and the Argonauts, and I thought the search for the Golden Fleece.
It was quite a show. It was definitely a show. If Monsieur Arnault wanted, media attention, he got it. And I think that Alexander is truly talented.
And I think if you can make the chief executive cry of the company, I think you've achieved something. You've made a French businessman cry.
I just feel there's this kind of renewed vigor and enthusiasm, and I think it's marvelous.
For us in fashion, it really is the World Series of fashion. There are no holds barred. They're the best of the best, doing their best.
Fashion needs to be fun, and the couture is probably the most fun in fashion. The fact that it costs like $1 million an outfit is a bit of a hindrance.
The couture this season is a series of firsts. The first time in 147 years that there have been 4 new collections. The first men in couture.
Men's couture was only part of the wit, ideas, and brilliant execution of Jean-Paul Gaultier's first couture show.
I thought he was fantastic, and I thought it was modern and yet couture and beautiful and daring and modern, but yet totally wearable.
Number 1, combinaison pantalon, décolleté fente et tenue en crêpe mousse noire, chapeau d'homme en perle noire.
Why did I want? I think I always wanted, and I always almost did. I started with couture. I started with Pierre Cardin, and after I worked with Jean Patou. So it's like a normal evolution. I think I always did, but it's only a question of label. Etiquette. You don't call it like that, but it is that. Only things like that. But in reality, it was already. Some of the things I was doing were couture. Some were very industrial, but some were very couture. On my spirit is very couture, I think.
And we thought it was time to show that Paris was still at the top of the creation for the fashion. So this is why we decided that we should do some couture because you have less constraint.
It's about time he did couture because he's a fabulous tailor.
There is a tradition in couture with men for example, with a tailor, with a tailoring, like made to order suit, you know. It's couture in some way. To be honest, I didn't try to make like a collection that was a costume, you know. I didn't want to make costume. I didn't want to make. I didn't want to be historical. But hysterical. I wanted only to make like common clothes for women that could wear it, could afford to wear it, but also elegant and very Parisian of today. That's my only ambition, you know, to make it very Parisian and very, in some way, realistic couture.
58.
Gaudier's show was really original and beautiful, and I talked to Charlotte Rampling after the show, and she said she'd love to wear those clothes and buy those clothes. I mean, you have very chic modern women that are talking about buying couture again.
Numéro 60, number 60.
I think is almost a protection of artisanry.
I think it's really the craftsmanship, the fact that it still lasts. They're working with materials that are so beautiful, and it's all done by hand. I think that's pretty miraculous in this day and age.
You know, these things they work in, like feathers, like tulle, 400 meters of tulle in the Dior show for one dress. It is extraordinary that they can do such a thing in the 1990s.
It's pretty unbelievable to think that there's actually somebody who can, at John Galliano's show for Dior, take a piece of leather and cut it and make it look just like a doily. And there's probably only one person in the world who can do that, and they're sitting in a studio at Dior, and it's great to see them able to support themselves. I mean, those are the people couture is about too. Artisans who keep learning these trades and keep making it happen.
And every artisan is an artist to me, you know, because they, at that level of technique and at that level of, care, for little beads they care, you know, for one single bead. So it's a great act of love.
Everything that they make is a work of art. It's a one-off. It never existed before. It will not exist again. And in 100 or 200 years' time, it'll end up in a museum. And that is sensational because people will know what love and beauty and creativity went into making clothes.
A masterful melange of beadwork, opulent fabrics, and feathers underscored the artistry of Christian Lacroix that season.
We need just a little bit more of, not poetry, but something very subtle, very individual. Paris is quite flat, and I'm honest, and entertainment, night clubbing, everything vanished, and even for marketing, ready to wear, we are on, because the French are wonderful, but we are too often thinking we are the best. I never thought that, and I feel that I'm a southern guy, much more than a Parisian or French. But I feel that couture is only Paris. It's the only thing remaining in all this bright past. We have some architects, we have, of course, a lot of painters, everything. But when it's a matter of balancing in between business and art, we are not so good. English and American and Italian are much better. So I try to demonstrate that you can be modern even with a one-of-a-kind thing, and I try to have working with me young people with new skill, respectful for the tradition, but looking forward.
Even for the models, doing a couture show is quite different.
It is performance, you know, it's high art, it's perfection, it's all of that, which does make it different.
Well, the couture is a lot more sophisticated, and it's an art. Few people can do that. They just fit perfectly, all of them.
It's a really amazing feeling. It's like putting on a glove. Sometimes it can be slightly more stressful when you're actually walking, just because you really concentrate on trying to make everything look just so, and you really think about your fingers.
The clothes are more fitted and more fabulous.
It's definitely more dramatic. I mean, it's
You get to act much more, that's for sure. It's totally different. It's very important for the designers that you present this in a very special and beautiful ways. They put all their energy in this.
I always feel for the couture is more formal because these dresses are just so amazing, you know, and you feel like a queen, you know, you love it.
You have to do the pose, you have to be haute couture, you know.
No one cares more about the details than designer Emmanuel Ungaro.
I have passion, yes, of course, I'm a passionate man. Freedom, 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 that's my passion. Freedom for me, freedom for the woman. If I remain in the terms of my métier, I'm born like a couturier. I'm still doing haute couture in the, I think, for me, the best way. You cannot improvise the haute couture. You cannot. Even if you have a razzmatazz. You know, you have to have such an energy. You have to have an expertise to know how to cut, how to do things, how to put things together.
Somebody actually told me that there was a jacket last season at Chanel that was beaded that was about $175,000, and somebody said that 3 of them were sold to the same woman. So, I mean, you know, we have to understand that there are a lot of different incomes in the world, and for some people this stuff is cheap.
But is there really a difference in how couture clothes feel on the body? Here are 2 views from 2 of couture's best clients.
These clothes all the time, they're made for you, so they're made for you to move in on your size, you know, for your size, for your body. So no matter what movement you do, wherever you go, you always feel comfortable and you're not afraid to break it or damage it or anything like that. You're comfortable in it.
I don't think it's a difference, no. You can get very well dressed with a very simple dress. It's a question of taste, but the couture is very well finished and it's always a step ahead. But I think you can wear very nice, simple dresses.
While he might have started out by shocking his clientele, in 1997, Yves Saint Laurent delivers what every customer wants: clothes that are impeccable and correct. Saint Laurent's day clothes were predictably elegant, with signature masculine suiting. But at night, it was a vision of fluidity. Serving his loyal clients, Yves Saint Laurent continues to make fashion big business.
You know, these are very beautiful, perfect clothes, and not many people can wear them, and not many people do, but it creates an image for a much bigger company that has products that go all the way from hosiery to lipstick to shoes to duty-free shopping, scarves, ties, and that's very important.
Basically, the truth be told, what couture is, it's a perfume business with dresses on the side.
It's giving dresses to women who can afford them, and it's also branding the product very, very well. But when you think how many catalogs with brown coats hit the floor in your mailbox every day, it's very nice that there are some dresses that nobody ever gets. We tried to photograph one last night from Dior. We've got Linda Evangelista doing the couture for us, and they wouldn't let us have it because it was too delicate. So we said, but nobody's ever going to buy it. Nobody's, you know, it was the one that had sort of, it was completely nude and then black on the bottom, had a kind of treble clef thing. And we said, you know, who else is going to do it? If we don't do it, nobody's ever going to see it.
And it actually has turned out to be about selling clothes. The clients are very happy. I mean, all the clients at the shows have been talking about the things they're going to buy, and I think what the designers have done this time is struck a real balance between the totally over-the-top creativity, but also things that are very wearable.
Always one to please his fans, Roman couturier Valentino has one of the industry's most loyal followings.
When I started my career, I didn't do any pret-à-porter. The pret-à-porter didn't exist. And for me, couture is very, very important because it's the expression of your talent, of your creativity, of your background, of your capacity, of your everything. To make a couture collection and to try, especially today, because today couture collection, they are more modern, they are not too sophisticated in the meantime, old, they are young, they are snappy, they are fresh, they are light, and this lightness is the big word for my collection. I really want to give this sort of nothing, those dresses so feminine, then they weigh nothing on the body, and putting together all these materials and the color and the flowers everywhere. I mean, I think I want to give with this collection lots of femininity as usual. I think I am quite well known to make feminine dresses. They are very light. They look couture, but they don't look too precious and too rich. You understand? I think it's one of the couture collection for today.
Couture is very important to push fashion to the edge of tension and to the edge of excitement, so that people will have hopes. But what matters in the end is a beautiful vision.
The couture collections are an event, of course. It's like going to the theater, seeing something different, something entertaining, beauty, colors, fabric, softness, and a dream. You know, you go away for half an hour, and then come back to reality.
And it just shows how much value we place on, I think, human thought, human imagination, human creativity, to actually fashion these things, they're the stuff of dreams.
At the moment when the show starts, the girl comes out, the clothes become alive. It's living. It's the moment of being alive. It's just for one small moment where it's an ecstasy of visual. Everything is there, the makeup is right, the girl is right, the walking. But when she leaves the runway, that's it. It's gone.